Welcome to the BioBibar Gut Health Podcast. I am Dr. Nikita Dinger, scientist, entrepreneur, and author of Inside You, a guide to biohacking your life by understanding your gut microbiome. Your gut is the command center of your health, influencing everything from digestion and immunity to mood and energy. But with so much conflicting advice out there, how do you know what truly works? That's where I come in. Here at Biome Bar, we break down science into simple, actionable insights so you can make informed decisions about your health. No fluff, no gimmicks. Just real, research backed strategies to help you heal from the inside out. So, if you're ready to take control of your gut health and feel your best, hit subscribe and let's dive in.
Ever notice how often we're told to listen to our gut? Well, buckle up, because today we're taking that advice to a whole new level.
We are.
This deep dive is all about the fascinating link between women's health and the gut microbiome.
Oh, it's
And
fascinating.
trust me,
Yeah,
it's way more intricate than just, grabbing a yogurt.
absolutely.
We're diving deep into how those trillions of bacteria in your gut,
Right.
specifically a group called the estrobolome, can directly impact like everything, your hormones, menstrual cycles, fertility, even conditions like PCOS. It's a lot.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's amazing. For so long, we treated those two systems, reproductive, gut, as if they were totally separate.
Totally.
But now we're really starting to see, how deeply connected they truly are.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit.
Okay.
We know estrogen's like this major player in women's health, right?
Huge.
But remind me, how does it even end up like interacting with our gut bacteria in the first place?
Okay, so estrogen, it's primarily produced by the ovaries, right?
Right.
Right.
But after it circulates in your bloodstream, gets metabolized by the liver, a good chunk of it actually heads to the gut.
Oh, interesting.
To the gut.
Yeah, and that's where the estrobolome comes in.
Okay.
These, specialized bacteria, they can actually reactivate estrogen.
Reactivate. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's a process called deconjugation.
Okay, now you're just using big words.
But think of it like this: the liver does its thing with estrogen, sends some off to the gut for further instructions, right?
Okay.
It's the gut bacteria that then decide, okay, this much estrogen goes back into the bloodstream.
Wow.
So they really impact the levels circulating in your body.
So it's not just a one-way street. Our gut bacteria are like actively managing our estrogen levels.
Exactly.
That's wild.
It is pretty amazing.
So how does this then play out in something like, say, a woman's menstrual cycle, which, let's be honest,
Right.
is an experience many of us know and
Yeah.
maybe sometimes dread?
Yeah, no, for sure. And research is showing a very strong connection between our gut microbiome and how bad those menstrual symptoms actually get.
Really?
Yeah, so when there's an imbalance, what we call dysbiosis,
Dysbiosis, right.
it can lead to, you guessed it, higher estrogen.
Makes sense.
And as you can probably imagine, that just throws things even more out of whack.
Yeah.
More bloating, fatigue, even those mood swings.
So it's basically like our gut bacteria are like secretly driving our moods every month.
In a way, yeah. They have a lot of power.
That's a little scary, honestly.
Yeah.
But what about like the more serious hormonal conditions? You mentioned PCOS earlier, polycystic ovary syndrome.
Right. PCOS, it's complex, but insulin resistance is a big part of it.
Right.
And guess what? The gut microbiome can actually influence how sensitive we are to insulin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if there's that dysbiosis again, it can actually worsen insulin resistance, which then messes with hormonal balance even more.
It's like a domino effect.
Totally, yeah.
The gut's imbalanced, and then certainly all these other things start going haywire.
Exactly.
Speaking of hormonal shifts of pregnancy, that's like hormone central, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Huge changes.
So what's actually going on in the gut during those 9 months?
Well, your body's doing something incredible building a human,
It is?
and the gut microbiome is right there with it, transforming to support that growing baby.
How so?
So it gets less diverse overall.
It's diverse. That sounds bad.
Not necessarily. It means certain types of bacteria increase.
Okay.
And these bacteria are really good at two things: extracting energy from food
Makes sense. Got to fuel that baby,
and promoting fat storage.
which is important too, right?
Exactly. Got to build those reserves.
Wow. It's really incredible how the body just knows what to do.
Mm.
But here's what I find really fascinating. A mother's gut health during pregnancy, it doesn't just affect her, right?
Right, there's that ripple effect again.
It can impact the baby long term.
100%. A mother's microbiome helps shape the baby's microbiome, which then, influences their health as they grow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, studies have shown a link between a mother's gut health during pregnancy and the baby's risk of things like eczema, asthma later on.
Oh, wow.
So we're talking about a healthy gut for mom, but also for the next generation, and even beyond that. It also plays a huge role in the mother's immune system during pregnancy.
Oh, right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so the developing fetus, it's basically foreign to the mother's body, right?
Right.
Like, normally her immune system would try to fight it off.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But the gut microbiome steps in and helps, modulate that immune response. So it prevents rejection and allows the pregnancy to continue safely.
It's like it's playing peacemaker between the mom's immune system and the baby. That's amazing.
Really incredible, yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about periods, pregnancy, but what about actually getting pregnant in the first place? What's the connection between gut health and fertility?
Yeah, so that's an area where there's still a lot of research happening. We don't
Right.
have all the answers, but it's becoming super clear that gut health is a big part of the fertility puzzle.
Interesting. So what do we know so far?
Well, we know hormonal balance is essential for ovulation, right?
Why?
And as we've been saying, the gut microbiome plays a key role in keeping those hormones in check.
Especially estrogen, right?
Especially estrogen, yep.
So if the estrobolome isn't working right and estrogen levels are off, that could mess with ovulation.
Exactly. And then on top of that, there's chronic inflammation.
Right. Inflammation always seems to be lurking in the background.
It really does. And unfortunately, gut dysbiosis, that imbalance we keep talking about, it's a major culprit for inflammation.
And we see that impacting fertility.
Yeah, we often see a connection between chronic inflammation and trouble getting pregnant.
So it's like a healthy gut with balanced bacteria and less inflammation that creates a good environment for conception.
100%. And it's not just estrogen, by the way. Progesterone, another key hormone for fertility, is also influenced by the gut.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. So
Yeah.
it really is all connected. Maybe in the future we'll be talking about like preconception gut prep as part of the fertility conversation.
Right. Wouldn't be surprised. And, since we're talking about inflammation, this is a good time to mention endometriosis, which can actually be affected by gut health too.
Endometriosis. Oh, right. That's where the tissue, similar to the uterine lining, grows outside the uterus, right?
You got it. And it's often linked to, you guessed it, chronic inflammation.
So is the idea that an imbalance in the gut microbiome could make those inflammatory responses even worse?
That's what the research suggests, yeah. There have been studies that show women with endometriosis tend to have different gut microbiome compositions compared to women without it.
Interesting.
We're still figuring out exactly how it all works, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
It's kind of mind-blowing how many different aspects of women's health seem to circle back to the gut.
It's true. It's a bit of a linchpin for everything.
Okay, let's shift gears to another major life stage, menopause. Estrogen naturally drops during this time. So what's happening in the gut then?
Okay, so menopause is another huge shift in hormones.
Right?
And as estrogen declines, the gut microbiome, it goes through its own changes. One thing we see a lot of during menopause is something called gut permeability. You might hear it called leaky gut.
Leaky gut, that sounds kind of scary.
Yeah.
What is that exactly, and how does it relate to menopause?
Okay, so picture the lining of your gut like a net, right? It's supposed to
Oh.
keep things out of your bloodstream, like partially digested food, toxins, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
With leaky gut, that net, it gets holes, becomes more permeable. So those things can pass through into the bloodstream.
Oh.
And that can trigger inflammation throughout the body. And we know what inflammation can lead to, a whole bunch of problems. And the thing is, during menopause, when estrogen declines, it can actually make that leaky gut worse.
So it's like on top of hot flashes and mood swings, women in menopause also have to worry about leaky gut and inflammation.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's a lot. Menopause can be tough, and the gut microbiome definitely plays a role in how smoothly it goes. And leaky gut, with all that inflammation, it can even make those common symptoms worse.
Like hot flashes and mood swings.
Even weight gain sometimes.
Wow. So taking care of your gut during menopause seems even more important than ever.
Absolutely. And, we've talked a lot about how the gut microbiome affects women's health. You're probably wondering what you can actually do about it, right?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Like, what can we actually do?
Right. And the good news is there's a lot we can do. I mean, we've been talking about this gut hormone connection.
Right.
So naturally, what we eat plays a huge role.
Yeah, but like, are we talking big picture here? Like, eat your veggies, or is there anything more specific women should focus on?
It's definitely more than just like your general healthy diet.
Okay.
I mean, yes, fruits, vegetables, fiber, all that's important.
Right.
But there are definitely some like gut health superstars, especially when we're thinking about those hormonal shifts women go through.
Okay, you got to tell me more. What are these superfoods?
So one category to keep in mind is phytoestrogens.
Phyto what?
Phytoestrogens. It's a mouthful, I know. But basically, they're plant compounds. You find them in foods like soy, flax seeds, legumes,
Okay.
and they actually mimic the effects of estrogen in the body.
Oh, interesting. So, like, they're not going to completely mess with your hormones?
No, not at all. Think of it more like they bind to estrogen receptors and help kind of balance things out,
Okay.
which can be really helpful during menopause, for example, when estrogen's fluctuating.
Got it. So it's like giving your body a little boost from nature.
Exactly.
I like it. What else? What else should we be piling on our plates?
Okay, I have to mention the classics. Prebiotics and probiotics.
Right. Got to have those good bacteria.
Exactly. And prebiotics, they're like food for those good bacteria. They help them thrive.
Well, interesting. So it's not just about adding good bacteria, but making sure the ones we have are well fed.
Precisely. And you find prebiotics in things like garlic, onions, asparagus, even some of those slightly bitter greens like chicory or dandelion green.
Dandelion greens, who knew?
Right. But then, of course, there are the probiotics.
Okay, but it's not all just yogurt.
No way. Yogurt can be good, but there's a whole world of fermented foods out there that are amazing for you.
Like what? Give us some ideas.
Kefir is a great one.
Kefir, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's a fermented milk drink, kind of tangy.
Okay.
And then there's sauerkraut, kimchi, miso. All those fermented things are packed with good bacteria to help diversify your gut microbiome.
It's making me hungry just thinking about it.
Right.
Now, before I forget, we talked a lot about inflammation.
Right.
Are there foods that can fight that? Especially for women dealing with, say, endometriosis or even just those awful menopause symptoms?
Yes, 100%. Omega-3 fatty acids are your best friend when it comes to inflammation.
Okay, omega-3s. Got it.
Fatty fish are great.
Yeah.
Salmon, mackerel, sardines.
Okay.
If you're not a fish person, there are other options like walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds.
So load up on the healthy fats.
Exactly.
But okay, it's not just about food, right? Lifestyle plays a huge role in this whole gut health thing, too.
Huge.
I mean, let's be honest. Most of us are dealing with some level of stress these days.
Totally.
What does stress even do to our gut, especially for women?
Okay, so stress is bad news for the gut. I'm talking chronic stress.
Right, like everyday stress.
Yeah, because your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. And cortisol is important, right? We need it.
Right.
But when it's constantly elevated, it throws the balance in your gut totally out of whack, leads to, yep, you guessed it, more inflammation.
Of course, inflammation is always the culprit.
Right. And for women, that stress-induced gut imbalance can make menstrual cramps worse, make PMS worse, even mess with sleep.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, which then messes with those hormones even more.
It's like a vicious cycle.
It really is. So finding healthy ways to manage stress, it's not just about like feeling good mentally, it's crucial for your gut too.
It all comes back to the gut. What about exercise? We all know it's good for us, but how does it tie into the gut, especially for women?
Think of exercise like a multivitamin for your gut.
A multivitamin.
Yet it gets things moving. Improves what we call gut motility.
Gut motility, what's that?
It's basically just making sure everything in your digestive system is like flowing along nicely.
Right.
You don't want a traffic jam in there, right?
Right. No traffic jams.
Exactly. And exercise helps prevent that. Plus, it can actually increase the diversity of those good bacteria in your gut, which is what we want.
Right.
And of course, exercise can help with stress and improve sleep, which we already talked about, are both great for a healthy gut and happy hormones.
Right. It's like this domino effect, good for the gut, good for hormones, good for everything.
Way.
Speaking of sleep, we all know it's important, but how exactly does it impact gut health in women specifically?
Sleep is when your body resets everything, hormones included. So when you sleep, your body's regulating estrogen, cortisol, all of it. But if you're not getting enough sleep, or if your sleep is constantly interrupted...
Which, let's be honest, happens.
It does, yeah. Those hormone levels can get out of whack, and that impacts the gut microbiome. Poor sleep has been linked to leaky gut, more inflammation, and we've already talked about how those things can spiral, especially during menopause with the hot flashes, night sweats.
It's like menopause makes it harder to sleep, and then not sleeping enough makes menopause harder.
Exactly. It's a vicious cycle. So, yeah, prioritizing sleep throughout a woman's life, but especially during those hormonal transitions, so important.
So crucial. Okay, so beyond diet, beyond lifestyle, where is all this research going? What's next for gut health?
Well, it's changing so fast, it's hard to keep up. But one really exciting area is microbiome-based therapies.
Microbiome-based therapies. Okay, now you're talking. What is that?
So think targeted probiotics. Prebiotics designed for really specific things. Like imagine a probiotic specifically to help with PCOS symptoms or to make menopause easier. That's the kind of thing they're working on.
Wow, that would be incredible. What of those more like intense gut issues? I've heard of fecal microbiota transplantation, FMT, where they basically transplant gut bacteria from a healthy person to someone who's really struggling.
Yeah, FMT. It's definitely getting a lot of attention. And while it's still experimental for some things, it really does have a lot of potential. There are even studies looking at it for endometriosis, unexplained infertility, recurring bacterial vaginosis, all things that have been linked to gut dysbiosis.
So they're basically trying to like hit the reset button on the gut microbiome with a healthy dose of good bacteria.
Exactly. It's still early days, but the early results are promising.
It's amazing to think that something like transplanting bacteria could have such a big impact.
Right. I mean, it really shows you how interconnected our bodies are and how powerful the gut microbiome really is.
So as we wrap up this incredible deep dive, what's the biggest takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest thing is this. The gut microbiome is not separate from everything else. It's deeply, intricately connected to women's hormonal health throughout their entire lives.
From periods to pregnancy, menopause, and everything in between.
Yes, it all comes back to the gut.
It really is like this hidden world inside of us that influences so much.
Absolutely. And as complex as the science can be, the good news is the steps we can take to support it are pretty straightforward.
Right. And we have the power to actually do something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about adding those good foods to our diet, figuring out how to manage stress in healthy ways, moving our bodies, making sleep a priority. It doesn't have to be perfect, but every little change adds up.
I love that. Small changes, big impact.
Exactly. And honestly, we're just getting started. Who knows what incredible discoveries are right around the corner?
That's an exciting thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us for this fascinating deep dive into the world of women's health and the gut microbiome. Until next time.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining me on this episode of the Biomebar Gut Health Podcast. Women's health is powerful, and as we have explored today, the gut microbiome is at the heart of it all, from hormonal balance to pregnancy, menopause, and beyond. For many women, health isn't just about feeling good, it's about juggling responsibilities, managing stress, and overcoming challenges that often go unnoticed. If you've ever felt unheard, dismissed, or unsure about what's really going on with your body, you're not alone. Maybe you've been told that your fatigue is just a part of life, that your skin issues, mood swings, or digestive troubles are just something to deal with. You deserve to feel vibrant, in control, and truly understood. For Indian women, especially, where expectations can be high and self care is often pushed aside, prioritizing your well being isn't selfish, it's essential. At Biomebar, we are committed to giving women the tools essential to take charge of their health with precision probiotics and personalized nutrition because every woman's microbiome is as unique as she is. Imagine waking up feeling energized, ready to take on the day, whether it's managing your home, excelling at work, or caring for your family without feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or ignored. That's what optimal gut health can do. I have personally struggled with some challenges that many of you face, feeling overwhelmed, unsure, disconnected from my body. It wasn't until I truly focused on my gut health and founded Biomebar that I started to regain control. That's why I am so passionate about offering solutions that help me and now can help you too. If you're ready to nourish your body from within, check out Biomebar Probiotics and find all the support that your gut microbiome needs. Your body, holds incredible wisdom. Let's honor it. And with Biomi Bar, you're never on this path alone. Thank you for being here, and until next time, trust your gut, it knows the way.